Hello folks, Tom Auger here with a short little Photoshop tutorial that I was recording for some folks at work and thought I'd post it here in case anyone else might find it useful. There are, of course, hundreds of these kinds of tutorials out there on the internet, but I thought, what the heck, let's add one more. So the goal here is just to use Photoshop's features to very quickly resize a whole bunch of images. What I've done here is I've downloaded a bunch of images from a stock photo site and they're all at full resolution. And what I want to do is I want to very quickly automate a process by which each image gets evaluated, whether it's landscape or portrait, trimmed down to a maximum size. I'm going to call it 2048 pixels. In the width or the height, and save that to another folder, and then later on I can use that folder to upload those images to my website and they'll be nicely trimmed down to a reasonable size. So we've got lots and lots of images here, and this can work for hundreds of images if you want, and we want it to happen really quickly without us having to open up each file, image size, save the settings, save as, press enter. That takes a lot of time, and if you have hundreds of images, that time adds up. So if we can use a batch process to automate that, that's going to be awesome. Now, the Photoshop has a built-in feature to allow you to resize images, and it's under the script, and it's called image processing. So if all you want to do is resize your images or scale them down and save them maybe as a JPEG or something, then you can just use that image processing feature without any of this additional stuff. Where it gets nuanced is that we want to change the dimension that's getting sized down. In the case of a portrait image, we want to size the height. In the case of a landscape image, we want to resize the width. And then we let Photoshop figure out the height or the width of the remaining dimension based on the algorithm, based on that proportional scaling. So we actually need to have kind of an either or situation, and that's where actions come in, because you can create what are called conditional actions. So let's jump right in and look into how we would do this in Photoshop. First, in order to record actions, you need to have a test subject. So I'm just going to open up some random image here from our collection, and that's just going to be our test subject for the actions. If you haven't used actions before, you'll find them under the window menu, window actions, and we've got a list of kind of default actions that start it off, and you can certainly have a lot of fun with them. And the way you use an action is you select the action you want to run and you hit the play button and off you go. So I'm gonna let you explore that one on your own, and explore that. You have a lot of fun. You'll start to get inspired, and I think you'll be like, hey, I want to start creating actions because it's really cool. But for now, we're just going to record our own very simple action. To start off with, to keep things organized, I'm going to create a new folder or a new set, and I'm just going to call that resize for now. All right, now I'm ready to record my first action. So I'm going to hit the button. I'm going to give it a name, resize 2048. And because I'm working on a landscape orientation image, I'm going to be resizing the width. So I'm going to add a W there so I remember that that's what I'm doing. Hitting record, I'm going to now, actually you can see here, there's a little red record icon on there letting me know that I am recording these actions. And what's really cool is now I can do anything in Photoshop, any menu item or whatever, and it's going to get recorded. So here, I'm going to change the width, and I'm going to make sure proportional scaling is turned on. Change the width to 2048. You can see that the algorithm automatically calculates the corresponding height, and we are going to turn resampling on and set it to automatic. That algorithm is just great nowadays. So press OK. The image, as you can see, has been resized, but more importantly, the action has been recorded here, and it remembers all of those settings. That's really all I wanted to do here, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to close this window up, and I don't even need to save it. All right, so that's the process in a nutshell. We've done that now for our landscape, so now let's do the exact same thing for our portrait orientation images. So let's choose a guinea pig here for our portrait orientation image, and we're going to go back to our actions into resize. We're going to record a new action, which I'll call resize-2048 in the height dimension, and we're going to record that. And just like we did before, image size, and this time it's the height that we're changing to 2048, and pressing OK and stopping that action. So now we have two actions that we've recorded, one for landscape images and one for portrait images. So now we have to create kind of a super meta action that's going to be used to simply choose which one of these other two actions we want to run depending on the orientation of the image. So we're going to record another action within the resize folder, and I'm going to call that resize 2048, and I'm going to hit record. And there's actually nothing really to record. What we're going to do is we're going to use the flyout menu under the Actions tab, and we're going to choose Insert a Conditional Step. And it already has the one exactly that we want. So it's saying if the document is landscape, then we're going to play the landscape action. And if it's not, in other words, if it's portrait or square, then we're going to use the portrait action that we've recorded earlier. And we say OK, and we hit stop. So to recap, we've recorded one super action or meta action that's going to choose which one of these two actions to run depending on the orientation of the image. So now all that's left to do is to actually run this super action on all the images in our folder. And for that, we're going to use another feature, which I talked about briefly, which is File, Scripts, Image Processor. So if we take a look at Image Processor, you're going to see that there are a number of options available here. It can be a little bit daunting. They've helpfully shown us the order in which we need to select these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, they got the order wrong. This one should be above that. But anyway, let's not complain about that too much. So moving into the dialog and seeing what our options are. Because we don't have any image open, we don't even have the option to use open images. We're going to use a folder. So I'm going to hit the select folder button. There's the MTB folder that has all the images in it that I want to use. And I'm going to hit open. Perfect. Now, next thing I want to do is where am I going to save these images after they've been processed? So I don't want to save in the same location. I'm going to put them in a new folder. So I'm going to select the folder, and there's a folder there called resize. So I'm going to use that. And maybe I'll keep the folder structure. Why not? And then we want to save that as a JPEG. And here you can play around with your quality. You'll notice that there is a resize to fit option. We might be tempted to use that, but that is kind of going to be universal. It'll either be the width or the height, and we definitely don't want to do that. That's why we have our actions. So we're going to go to this last section, preferences, turn our run action option on, and it's from this folder, resize, and we're not going to use this one. We're going to use our meta action there that's going to choose, our conditional action that's going to choose which one. And I've turned off the color profile because we don't really need to worry about that. All right, that's it. Ready to go. If you think you might use this multiple times and you don't want to have to set it up again, you can save this. What that's going to do is that's going to save the image processor settings that you can then reuse in the future. But we're not going to save that right now. We're just going to hit the run button and see what happens. So what's going to happen now is Photoshop is opening up each image and very, very quickly applying the appropriate action, saving it as we've told it to in the processing dialog box, and then closing that image down. So why don't we take a look now at the resulting folder. And as you can see here, that folder has all those images in them now, and they've been, well, let's find out if they've been resized. Let's take the first one, open it up. This one is a landscape image, so we should be expecting to see an image size the width of 2048. Absolutely perfect. And then for this other one, let's try a portrait one, and we're going to see that the image size here, the height has been set to 2048. So everything seems to have worked perfectly, and we've got our batch process essentially, which we've used the image the script to do image processing, and we've used the actions in order to be able to apply a bit more than just a dumb resizing function to the image processing. So hope this was somewhat useful to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I promise I check the comments at least once per year, so you'll get an answer in 7 months time or something like that. Anyway, I hope this was useful, and we'll see you out there in the Photoshop universe. Thanks very much.